Welcome, everyone. We'll be starting right at the top of the hour today. Looking forward to this a lot. We've got quite a few announcements to make. We'll see you at the top of the hour. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Glad you're with us here. Welcome to the Evolution Center. We're going to be doing some interesting things today. Okay, so today we've got we've got Meg with us with a really beautiful piece about some incredible balance. We've also got, of course, uh, we have uh, my brain is blanking out here at the moment. Uh, but we have our astrologer with us here too, and she'll be bringing in some really interesting stuff about the Queen because she's in the UK. So she's going to show us a little bit about the Queen and so forth. And that's Alison Chester Lambert. She'll be with us here coming up pretty soon too. So we've got a lot going on, but I want to take you through a couple things before I go into channel. I am going to go into channel here in a few minutes, but right away I want to take you through a couple things. Let me turn this down just a little bit. There we go. Okay, couple things. Number one, the book is out. The book Crossing the Veil is out. It's at Amazon only, unless you're in Turkey. Turkish is being translated right now. Okay, we've got a few things going on with the book that I want to explain and I want to put out there. We have been talking last month. We talked about volunteers. We talked about bringing people in to do a couple things. We talked about this for a couple of months. I have actually made a list of things available for those of you who are interested in finding out what we're looking for. There's a couple things I'm going to tell you right now, though. One of them is not on that list, and one of them is. So let's start with the one that is translating the book. We have our own translation teams, and they translate the beacons of light every single month in many different languages. It's absolutely amazing. But I didn't want to overload them with translations. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to put out that we're going to translate these books. And we're looking for volunteers of anybody who wants to help translate this book. I'm probably not going to use just one translator. We'll probably run it through a couple of different people to see what that looks like. But if you're interested in doing that, fill out the little thing down at the bottom. Oh, sorry, the other way. Down at the bottom of the page down there, you'll see a little circle that says it's got a big question mark in it. So you can send anything to there. Kathy will send you back the list. And if it's something responding to today, just she'll forward it to me. So we'll be in pretty good shape. But what we're going to do is something different. My first books were translated into 18 different languages. And several of those publishers are out of business now. It's been quite a while since I put out a book. But one of the things we're going to do, because the industry has changed. Now, I don't have any way to get into the local bookstores, the local metaphysical shops that I'd love to do, and so forth. But we do have a way of reaching each country, and that's actually through Amazon. Amazon has Amazon.com. It has Amazon.es. It has Amazon.it. It has Amazon.nl. It has Amazon.be. We literally have covered the planet with Amazon, and I can actually put this up in your language in your Amazon so that you can get it. So we're going to start doing some of our own translations. And if the translation teams are interested in this, please let me know. We'll come forward. We'll talk about what to do with this. But I am opening this up. This is a volunteer position. But if anybody's interested in jumping in and making this available to people in your country, in your language, let me know. Because we now have a way of distributing those that was never there before. And that's a really wonderful opportunity. So that particular one is on the list. The one I want to tell you about now is not on the list. And that's that we simply, or maybe it is on the list. I don't really remember when I made the list. But one of the things we are looking for here as far as a volunteer is one key person that can help us organize our testimonials. We have people that write in all the time and they start maybe they'll have a little question, but they start the whole first thing with, oh, I've been following you for years and this and that. We'd like somebody to follow up with them, to write them back and ask them if we can have permission to use that as a testimonial. And then further, as we go forward, we're going to be sending out little surveys at the end of every single seminar just to find out if anybody had a problem with it or anything else. And we can probably collect some testimonials from there as well. The testimonials are going to go right over to not only on the website, but more importantly, into the social media. We have a new social media manager who's coming on board, and she's kind of getting everything kind of squared away and so forth. It's taken a while. Took us almost 3 weeks just to get into some of the accounts because of two-factor identification, all the crazy things that are going on. But anyway, we see that is taking place, and you'll be able to see a lot more in Facebook and the different social medias. I'm not exactly sure which ones we're going to focus on entirely, but I think in the beginning she's going to open it up to almost all of them. So we'll see exactly where we're going to be, but you'll be able to find out a lot more information about that coming soon. The flow is very slow at Facebook right now and Twitter and everything else, but that's going to increase. We have several behind the scenes things that we're going to be working on, and we look forward to bringing that to you. So I'm thrilled about that. Now, on top of all that, that is one person that would work pretty closely with us here as a staffer, and they would basically be someone who would run these things down. And when we get one to come in, they can just forward it to the social media person. She can put it up from there. Carol can put it up from there. So welcome today. We've got a lot going on. I want to bring it all to you as fast as I can. But let me take you first to one place in particular, and that's the front page of the website. Yes, things have changed a bit. You'll see that we've got new things popping up. The reality is this area right here, I'm going to use to bring you the latest information from me. If there's something going on that you need to go about, I'm going to post it right here. You'll see this picture change quite a bit. You'll see that if you click on this whole thing, looks like I lost my link. Anyway, the link was supposed to take you over to the GlobalLight page. It worked a few minutes ago. It's not working now. We'll get that working right away. But anyway, you can find the GlobalLight page simply from here to come down to the GlobalLight. It's the first one, and it is free. That's where we're broadcasting actually right now today. So that's one of the things that are going on. Watch this area of the website. I'm going to be changing it regularly, not only the picture, but also many the messages and things that we want you to know about when we put something up there brand new. Now, on top of all that, we've got several things taking place here and that I'm very excited about. We'll bring that over to you here too, because we're bringing back Lightmaster. I am very excited about that. Uh, we stopped Lightmaster for a lot of reasons. We went through 10 years of Lightmaster. There was a lot of things that we couldn't quite gel or couldn't quite get in certain places to really perfect. So we went into this whole new system of the empowerment stream. In the empowerment stream, we learned quite a few things. We learned how to do some of the things that we were missing in Lightmaster. So with that, we are bringing back Lightmaster. Lightmaster will be the main event that we put on here at Espavo. I'll just tell you that. Everything from this point forward is going to focus into Lightmaster. And you can take as far as you want. If you don't want to get into the Lightmaster for the whole year or whatever, that's fine. There's different ways that you can do this. I've made up a brand new page for this. Let me show you on the website where this is so you can see this. It's right here. It's in a brand new spot on the menu right in this area here. And if you click on that, it will take you to a page that talks about Lightmaster 2300. 2300, for those of you who are Lightmasters who know how we work with the numbers, 2300 will be the last number that we actually use, because from this point forward, Lightmasters can come in and they can be available. They can jump in at any month. So we're going to stop using those numbers. Now, this whole thing is going to begin October 1st. We've given you a full description of what's going on. I've recorded a nice video for you so you can see what's taking place. I'll have to stop that there. I don't particularly like my mouth open on those, but we've got different explanations. The price, the registration button does not work right now for the very simple reason that if those of you who are in EES, if we let you sign up for this, you are liable to be double billed, and we don't want to have that problem. So since we're starting with a new system, we're not actually going to make it available for purchase until October 1st, which is coming up pretty quick. October 1st, it'll be available for purchase, and we can go from there. it is going to be a different situation. I told you before, we're going to do all of our classes on Friday, and Fridays are going to be the day. There'll be a couple of other things that we do, the global lights and the special extra events that we do for Lightmaster. They're explained in that video, so you can find out more about that over there. But there are special events besides the 4 events that we're going to do every month that Lightmasters will be invited to. So, with all this going on, I'm very excited about bringing Lightmaster back. I have missed it. Let me tell you why. We right now are working with bringing in 4 days a month. We bring in the first 3 days, or exactly what we tell you. We tell you we're going to work on this, or we're going to work on that, or this is going to be the subject. And we've given you a layout of everything we're going to talk about. Well, that's great for you guys, but it's not so great for the group. The group loves to bring in stuff last minute. They love to turn. They love to change. They love to talk about things that are important for all of us because they don't actually know who's going to show up until they show up. They like to be spontaneous. So here's what we're going to do. The first 2 Fridays of each month will be labeled. That's what's going to happen. This next one that we're coming up in is a very big one. It's going to be 3 days. It's talking about the Great Reset, and it is really huge. It's so huge. We're going to continue talking about it for a while because it's not something that happens on a specific day or at a specific time. So the Great Reset is one that is coming up next. It will be starting this week, and that's a 3-day event. So let's don't get confused because we don't actually start this new system until October. In October, the new event is going to be a super consciousness event on channeling, but it's going to be 2 days. I'm going to pack everything that we can pack into those 2 days about the information from the group and what they have said about it. They'll bring in new information. They'll bring in what they want to do to take you through activating your sacred contracts, because many of you have contracts to channel that you don't know about. That'll be in October. That'll be the first 2 weeks, 2 Fridays in October. After that, everything is Lightmaster. So every month, you'll have at least 2 full Lightmaster courses. Now, sometimes we'll extend it. Sometimes if we're talking about channeling and they have more that they want to bring the Lightmasters or a different level of it, they'll bring it in, and we'll bring it in on those extra 2 days. But I'm not going to require the group to talk about those subjects on those days. I'm going to let them free flow because that's where the really important information comes in and the new material comes in at that point. So I want to let everybody know what we're doing. We're changing. The group is very excited about bringing Lightmaster back. It was a family that they nurtured for 10 years. Yes, we had people leave. We had new people come in. We had everything else, but it was a family, and we have missed it. We're bringing Lightmaster back, and I am just thrilled about it. So anyway, that's happening on October 1st. You can go check out the page like we talked about, so you can see what we're doing here and how we're doing it. But Lightmaster 2300 is in view and coming very soon. So we're thrilled about that. So thank you all for allowing us to make all these changes and the shifts. Now, you may be curious about several things. Maybe you're signed up for the 6 or 12-month EES, the empowerment stream. What is going to happen to that? That is Lightmaster. From October 1st on, those 2 subscriptions for 6 and 12 months are the Lightmasters from this point forward. Okay? The only ones we're going to sell separate from that are the first 2 days, those labeled days, the days that we're going to be on topic and tell you what the topic is. Those we're going to also make available to other people and new people that are not in Lightmaster. But then after that, we go straight into the final 2 days. Plus, you're going to get almost always 1 extra day every month, either for questions or for the group to use you. Let me explain what that's about. Lightmasters already know this, those of you who've been in Lightmaster before. But the group actually considers the Lightmasters to be incredible, powerful healers that are here for a purpose. And they want us to use that. So many times when there is a problem on Earth, sometimes it's with the Earth, most of the time it's with people. But when there is a problem that we're dealing with, we can make a difference. And although we're going to do that in GlobalLight, we tend to use the big things. We tend to work on the big projects. Here we're going to work on smaller ones and also very intricate ones where we have to be very careful how we put our energy. And that they trust the light masters to do. So we will have some extra days, not only for the question and answers, but also to do what the group is calling global light work. They want to work with global light work with the light masters, and they want to use you. It's completely opposite, completely optional. The way they want to use you, they want to use your healing powers. They want to help focus something on some issue here in the world, and it won't be political. We do our best to stay out of sides and all the belief systems and everything else. But we're working on a higher level because if you pull back far enough, we're all exactly the same. We're just working with these little oddball things that make us think that we are separate from each other. So, with that, that's one of the things we're going to be working with. I'm very much looking forward to it and be able to work with that. All right. Thank you all for being here today and being a part of the family. I am going to move over here real quick. Well, that's the wrong button. Let's try this one. There, that one didn't work either. you think I know by now how my systems were set up. Anyway, welcome today. I do want to take just a moment. We're here in Vegas. We have the most beautiful weather. We've been having the most incredible. This is the time here in Vegas where we open our doors. We don't need air conditioning. We just it's just perfect. It's not hot enough for swimming. I will say that my pool gets pretty cold, but on top of that, it's really beautiful weather here. So we usually get 2 months going into spring and then 2 months going into autumn, where we have very nice weather. We're right in the middle of it. So I'm glad you're here with us today. Okay, a lot of things going to be taking place. As we mentioned, I do have the first channel, which I'll be bringing up here in a second. This will also be our healing circle. So if you have something you want to bring into the healing circle, just bring it forward. I'm going to do the explanation now so the group doesn't have to do it in channel. The best you can do is to ask someone so that they're participating. It's not always possible to do that. Sometimes somebody's in a coma. Sometimes someone is not reachable. Sometimes you just can't do it or they're not on board. If they're really not on board and you put them in the healing circle, what you're actually doing is healing you, not them. Now, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that because you have a need to work with them. You can also heal that as well. You can make that possible. And you're basically creating an energy when you do that. They're not in it, but you're creating an energy bubble. And at any time, they can decide to step into that. But just know that it's a little bit different than people that haven't give permission. And I need to explain that because the group has always talked about all healing must be requested. All true healing must have you are the only one that can heal yourself. Plain and simple. The only person. So with that, we'll know that we can't heal another person, but we can create the energy bubble for them to walk into to heal themselves. That's what we're working on. And that's what the healing circle is all about. Can we use large things? Do we have to use people? No, we can use situations on planet Earth. We can use challenges. We can try to break up this silly war. We can try to do a lot of things to do that in that nature. So feel free to bring in the things that are important to you into the healing circle. All right? Okay, and with that, I'm going to switch cameras. We'll move over here and kind of set this up. So, here, get comfortable. And I will give you just a second to find your space. We'll all get comfortable and just kind of release the energy. Normally, I put up a logo while I'm going into channel. Ever since we did the spiral meditation, and that's the meditation that I do very quickly before I go into channel. The group now wants me to do it in front of everybody. So here we go. Enjoy. Greetings, dear ones. I am the keeper of time. I join you with such pride this day, for you have moved more than you could possibly imagine. If you look at your headlines in your newspapers and on your news, you can see that the world is going crazy right now in many different levels. We tell you there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes that most people are simply not aware of. They're very basic things. You're aware of them on the large level. You know that there are enemies in from different places, from different things that are attacking different energies and being able to do that. Most of this is happening online. And we'll tell you more about that in time. But there is a major pressure going on at this moment to be able to break down different things. It's actually part of the war that's going on, or several wars that are going on as well. So we can tell you that there are many things going on that are going to change your world. You can see that security has increased drastically online in recent months. You now have two factor identification for pretty much everything for lots of reasons. And much of this has to do with the energies that are now pervading the planet. It's a fascinating thing to watch. We'll tell you more about it as we go forward. But that is one of the things that you can actually put into the healing circle. Not only that, but we're also telling you that you can actually control inflation by simply putting it into the healing circle. What will happen at first is that your own experience of inflation will start to diminish. And over periods of time, you'll start to see it on the news and you'll start to see it in the numbers. In the beginning, it's only going to affect you and it will affect you slowly at first. It takes time for this energy to work its way into your world, into the energies around you that will affect you. But these are many of the things that you can do. What you don't understand, dear ones, is that you are creator beings, complete in every way. And everything that you can balance between your head and your heart will start to manifest. Doesn't happen instantly in most cases. So sometimes you'll start a manifestation and you don't see anything and you'll think you failed and go on to do something else. But it will start to grow, especially if it is nurtured, especially if it is worked with over periods of time. So we're going to invite you to do that right now. So take a breath, everyone. Let yourself find your very center of your being. Excellent. Beautiful. Feel the light running all around you, finding its different ways to balance your head and your heart. Sometimes the light has difficulty being attracted to one or the other. Let it find its balance now. Good. Take a deep breath. Reach your hands out. If there are beings in the room, take their hands or touch them for just a moment. And if there are not, know that there are many beings all around the world that are reaching out energetically to touch your hands right now. Take them. And as you do, feel that energy moving. Feel it moving through the center of your heart. Take a breath right now. And we're going to bring the energy in through your left hand and take it out through your right hand. Here we go. In. Deep breath and out. Good. Again, in and out. Excellent. Can you feel it moving? That is the energy circle that you've just created. Now let's set the highest intent in that circle to have the highest healing abilities take place on planet Earth. The gathering of all the different energies come together as one. Take that now and breathe it in and open your heart to the center of the circle. Excellent. And now bring in anything you'd like and place it into the circle in front of you. If it's a person you're worried about, if it's someone you have permission to heal, if it's someone you're just working with, bring them forward. Or step forward yourself. Place yourself in there to receive the highest healing that you can receive. Take a breath and let it all out. Excellent. Good. Now feel the energy moving around that circle as your own heart starts to enlighten. And the people that stepped into that center, whether it's you or someone else, are starting to smile. You're starting to feel that connection. Excellent. Take a breath. And bring it all the way in. Excellent. Now bring them out of the healing circle or step out yourself. Just take a moment. Kind of clear your energy for a moment. Release those thoughts in your brain. You can hold the energy in your heart. That's fine. Now take a deep breath. Excellent. Beautiful. And now you can take any event that you want, world events or other things that are taking place in your environment, whatever that is. It's an excellent time to bring that up right now. And once again, feel the energy moving in through your left hand and out through your right. And speed it up this time. Make it go even quicker as it pulses through your heart every time. Now take a gentle in-breath and out. Good. You feel it moving much faster than before. Excellent. And now take a deep breath and lean back a little bit. Let your eyes gaze up into the sky. Bring it back down and bring all these events into the center of the circle. Whatever you'd like to put in there. Please understand, it's not about changing someone's mind or doing something that will shift world events. It's about opening up possibilities, planting seeds of light people can find and make their own decisions. So take a breath and plant those seeds right now in those environments. Intentionally put a part of your heart on that path so that when people walk by and see it, sometimes they'll even trip over it, but they'll pick it up and that will be the crystal on their path that can ignite their own hearts. Now, they'll make their own decisions on where they're going with things, but it makes them think about it. And that's incredible. That's the energy you're working with. The light is starting to change on planet Earth. It's actually becoming more accessible, become easier. Is it actually the light that's changing? No, it's humanity. You're getting closer to home. Every breath starts to raise your vibrations a little bit right now, which is why you have so much dissent on the planet and so many people going in so many directions. Yes, some of it is technology. Some of it has to do with the technology moving faster than humans could understand. But for the most part, you are creator beings. And whatever you hold in that field between your head and your heart, you will manifest. That is as it should be. We are so proud to be here with you, working with you. You may look to us as great beings on the other side of the veil, but I tell you, dear ones, we value you much more than you could possibly know. Some of you went there kicking and screaming. You agreed to go. No one can push you onto planet Earth. But many of you had your reservations about being here in this specific time. But then there's a whole lot of you as well that have known that these specific moments in time are critical. Many of you even traveled back 300 years from the future to be here right at this moment. Is it important to remember why you left 300 years ago? Is it important to remember what you had in mind? No, it's not. You hold all that deep in your heart. All you need to do is to be here and speak. Open your mouth. Even if you think no one's listening, you've brought energy in. You have a channel straight from home, whether you know it or not. And we'll be working to help you bring that out very soon. But in the meantime, the Great Reset is at hand. Almost as if someone took a huge rug and shook it, and everything went up in the air for a few moments. Well, dear ones, it's going to be more than a few moments on this time. This is the Great Reset that's underway. It will be taking place over many months to bring you down into the perfect position to move into that next level. Why is it happening now? Well, you're about to reach that 8 billion mark, dear ones. Humans are about to reach the 8 billion mark on planet Earth. And in that stage, the Earth will be making decisions about how she will adjust to be able to handle the weight of that many beings, or she will start closing down and humans must move into a higher vibrational state. Whatever the case, these are the reasons you wanted to be here right now. You are the beings that are going to help others to step into a higher vibration and help the Earth heal at the same time. She's not dying in the traditional ways, but your lives are changing. It's happening right now. You're seeing it. Do not close your eyes to it. Simply know that these are your times. The times that you came to bring something very special. It's not the end of the game, not by a long shot, but it is time to step up. Welcome home, dear ones. You are magical beings. We greet you all. We have known all of you, including those of you who have traveled backwards in time. For that is an illusion as well, the whole illusion of time. What is not an illusion is what you came to do. So many of you are looking, what exactly is it that I must do? Give me a list of the ABCs. Each of you hold that dear in your hearts. And sometimes you won't even know that until the moment comes for you to make a decision one way or the other, or to move in a direction of one way or the other. But dear ones, you are magical beings. I have seen you for so long a period of time, seen you evolve in the most beautiful ways. See you take those steps in humanity, and now you're getting ready to take a huge step. A huge step. And before that is happening, the Great Reset is unfolding to give you the energies and to place you in the right space to be able to make the highest of this evolutionary change that is underway. It's happening now. Your space was reserved. Is there anyone here just taking up space? Not by a long shot. Even if you hold nothing more than the energy in your own heart, you are making a difference already. Aim that. Focus it. Do not let people have you doubt yourself. You are creator beings. And if you have doubt, you end up creating more doubt. If you can only see us, see yourself through our eyes for just a moment, you'd understand everything. We love you dearly, not just because we know who you are, but we also know the commitment you've made, the energy that you've set forward, the opportunities that you've already moved through to be here right now. You made it. Welcome home, dear greatest of honor. And I ask you to treat each other with respect. Nurture one another at every opportunity. Play well together. I am the keeper of time. And I love you dearly. Spavo, dear one.
Hello and welcome to the astrology section of the show. My name is Alison and I'm a psychological astrologer. I would this month like to talk to you about a very significant thing that has occurred, the passing on of our Queen Elizabeth II. I want to take some time to actually look at her natal chart and what it says about her. And then I want to look at the transits that were around her on the day that she transitioned through. This helps me understand things. I feel more at peace when I can see how the planets worked around Elizabeth and the energies that went with her and moved her through. It's always comforting. Looked at this for over 30 years. When you first learn astrology, you go to your astrology classes and you learn all the basics, and then always they get out the royal family's charts because we need to practice on real people, and the royal family, everybody knows them or thinks they know them, so we have to pick famous people. So the last time I saw her chart was in the 90s. Well, in any great detail anyway. And so it has been nice to get it out and have a look again at the massive qualities of this lady who was born on the 21st of April, 1926. You know, that's, yeah, wow, just that by itself. And she was born at 02:40 in the morning, so she was born during the night. And this alone says something. People born during the night are naturally a lot more yin in character. They're a lot more reticent. They're not sort of big and showy. They tend to be more introvert than extrovert. Okay, when you first open Elizabeth's chart, there is something that you notice straight away, and that is that the highest planet in the chart, so the one right at the top of the chart on the midheaven, is a planet called Saturn. And the rest of the sky above her head is pretty much empty. A lot of the planets are on the other side of the Earth. So their energy isn't immediately available. When we're born with planets above our heads in the sky, those energies are much more clear and transparent to us. The ones that are on the other side of the Earth, so say you're born at night, the sun is on the other side of the Earth, so it's at the bottom of your chart, then you can't use it as readily and easily. You don't access the energy as easily as somebody else with the sun at the top of their chart, who is always going to be like the sun, shining all day. Anyway, so going back to Queen Elizabeth II's chart. So she has Saturn on her midheaven. Now, this and the fact that her moon is in Leo pretty much says that she was born for destiny. A lot is said about the fact that she should not have inherited the throne. Her uncle and his lineage were supposed to become the new monarchs, but he abdicated for Wallis Simpson. And so Princess Elizabeth's father had to take over, which put her in line for the throne, but she wasn't raised thinking that one day she would be monarch. When I look at her chart, I actually get a person who's quite shy, to be honest, and quite fearful. And so considering the shyness and the fearfulness, she has done a considerable job of just getting on with it despite her own reticence. So her rising sign is in Capricorn. So this is somebody who sees the world in a tough and pragmatic way. So she is fearful. She has hard work written through her, and responsibilities weigh heavily. So with Saturn being the leader of Capricorn, and having Saturn on the midheaven and then Capricorn as a rising sign, we already have a picture of someone who is burdened with immense duties and responsibilities and can never ever break free of them. They hang around her like a sort of a heavy weight, if you like. She does have a moon in Leo, and so there is a frivolous, playful side to her, but it's not in a place where she can access it easily. In fact, she tends to draw these playful people to her, and she can also find within her own family and her children the playfulness and the fun. Her moon is actually conjunct a dwarf planet called Ceres, a very important placement this, both in Leo. Ceres is, she's a matriarch, she is a goddess, she is everything you can say about the feminine, and raising things, or seeds, children, babies, seedlings, maidens, the harvest, women getting pregnant, giving birth, and so forth. It's always about the protection of the seed into its next transitional state, and eventually, of course, the harvest, the withering, the dying, the old age, and then the transforming and the transformation through into the next cycle. Now, this is an important thing to remember about her chart. First of all, it says in this life, she will protect and nurture and succor those around her. She will be very protective of her children and those who are emotionally close to her. And the other thing we have to remember about her chart, as I was saying earlier, is the sun is down the bottom of her chart. Not easy for her to be under a spotlight. And also the sun is in the same part of the sky as Chiron, the wounded healer. So she very much has an understanding of loss, of feeling uncomfortable, of being bewildered, being humiliated, embarrassed. So there is something in her which understands those feelings and almost sort of wants to reach out in understanding. And I think a lot of people felt the warmth and the empathy and sympathy that you can see in her chart when you look at this. The Sun conjunct Chiron also says a lot about the loss of her own father at a very young age, and how devastated she was by that, and how she never forgot it. It was always permanently with her, the loss of her father. Okay, so another few short things which I thought were quite amusing. She has a few planets in Aquarius. And this Aquarius has a quirky sense of humor, but also Aquarius is a sign associated with dogs, and she was well known for her love of dogs, so that sort of explains that. She has a Mercury in Aries, so this made her very quick-witted, if you like. She could come back with quick repartee. But mostly, like, we're under the Saturn, the Capricornian energy, which wants to conserve tradition and work towards that tradition, build on more tradition through incredibly hard work and a pragmatic sense of being. Okay, so that's Queen Elizabeth's second birth chart, and it was nice to go back to that. I want to capture a moment just before we go on to the transits around her at the moment of her transition. I want to capture her worldly mothering role there, which I think actually bubbles underneath everything that's said about her. I mean, in other times, she could have been seen as a goddess. In spiritual terms, perhaps she was. She was certainly an icon, somebody to look up to. She might as well have sat on Olympus, as far as I'm concerned. I think the way that Ceres features in her natal chart is quite an important factor here, this mothering role. Now, hold that thought, and I now want to move into the transit, so the position of the planets around her at the moment of her transitioning. Now, to my knowledge, they have never issued a time of death. I'm not really surprised when I realised that probably she passed on shortly after midday. They did say in the afternoon. Well, in the afternoon is quite a long time, but certainly after 12 qualifies as the afternoon. And so they were quite right in saying it. But I think that she went quite quickly, and those that were being recalled of the royal family probably didn't get there in time, if I'm honest. And so I think that it was better for them to say she just died this afternoon, because all the members of the royal family were arriving in the afternoon. But it looks to me as if the process began just after midday. I'm just going to talk some jargon, but then I'm also going to explain what that means and what I see here. So, one of the most important indicators in the sky for this type of transition is the moon. It moves very quickly. It can pass over 1 degree of arc in 2 hours, and it won't return to that place again for a month or so. And therefore, it tends to sort of put a spotlight on what was going on with the feminine and the yin at the time that this chart was drawn up for. So, the Queen has a Mars at 20 degrees of Aquarius, right? Her progressed moon, which is where her emotions are right now, what's happening in her life right now, had reached 20 degrees of Aquarius. In the sky, transits, moon, 20 degrees of Aquarius, Saturn, 20 degrees of Aquarius. There's that Saturn again. Now, this is quite a lot of synchronicity. I think possibly the indicators of what was around for her at the moment or at the point of her departure. But much more importantly to that was something that sort of brings tears to my eyes. On the other side of the sky, directly opposite, is the dwarf planet Ceres. Somehow she managed to get in position across from the Queen's natal Mars, her progressed moon, and transiting Saturn. And she sits at 20 degrees of Leo opposite that crowd. And for all the world in Leo there, she is proudly shining her torch. Remember the Greek torches with the flames? She is proudly holding up her torch and leading the way. I'm sorry. And so the goddess comes to escort Queen Elizabeth II through into the beyond, the next world, the duat, as they say in ancient Egypt. Her progressed Mercury was there also, so another messenger lighting the way. She would have seen Ceres. Ceres is directly overhead. And so that is just such a comforting thing. It's just so beautiful to see that goddess appear and take another one away, really. Also, what we had there was transiting Pluto, Lord of the Underworld, obviously, squaring her progressed Mars. So what that means is the transition of energy. Pluto moves something on into what it must become. And so all the indicators there are pointing to the Queen's spirit, and they are saying the spirit is being dimmed, it is being extinguished. The energy is being dulled down, and the earth energy is extinguishing it for transition into invisible energy, spirit. Um, and and how lovely. It really is as gentle as that. It really is her fire going to earth. And then the earth sort of falling away, the earth of her body falling away as the spirit leaves, and Sarah is waiting there for her to guide her through. So I hope I swore I would get through this without crying, and I almost have. Anyway, I want now to think about something else, right? I want to add another layer to this story, because we need to always bear in mind at the moment what these times are about. So, what was COVID about, and, what's food security about, and the war and everything else, right? It's about the rise of the feminine. Now, how the Queen's passing fits into the rise of the feminine is something that I think you should think about yourself, and how it fits in as far as you're concerned and with your beliefs. I look at it and I think, here we are transitioning feminine. When a world icon, a figure as big as the Queen, moves on, then we're aware of feminine, aren't we? We are aware of the loss. I want to talk about just briefly the role of feminine women, the West, the sun sinking, the sun dying. I just want to talk about that for a moment, because women, death, the West, the underworld have always been associated with each other. So it is women who preside over death. It is women who took the job of wailing over the coffin. It is women who prepared the body. And women in general were the caretakers of the movement into the duat, or the next world. And so therefore, when great female icons die, who remind us of the feminine and the yin, then we are aware of this association. It's another thought to think about, is that the last person for the Queen to see professionally was the new Prime Minister, Liz Truss, of the United Kingdom. And so there is our third Prime Minister, so another woman in our highest governmental position. And so again, we see the feminine coming through. I think it's just, for me, it's just movement. I will think on more about how the Queen's passing works with the story of the rise of the feminine. I think this will evolve in time. At the moment, I can't see the wood for the trees. So it's a time really just to reflect on what I have done. Anyway, so I hope that was okay. And I hope I'm not sort of just hope I go. Anyway, thank you very much for listening. And if you want the astrology for the month ahead, I will put it on I'll do another video and put that on my Facebook page. I really just wanted you to, I wanted to pay respect to the Queen. Astrologers have been doing this forever. Astrologers always were invited to comment on the birth and the death, etc. So it's a tradition that I hope I only have to uphold once in my life. And massive and huge respects to Her Majesty, and I personally will find her loss quite deep. Yeah, it's a very sad time. Okay, see you next month, and have a great month, and thank you very much. Namaste.
Thank you, Allison. Absolutely magical. Yes, the whole world is going through a grieving process right now over the Queen. I think Merlia is going to talk about that coming up too. That'll be in the channel coming up right after this special segment from Meg. Meg is with us here with a very special one. I think you're going to like this today at all. It fits right in. So we'll bring you Meg, and then we'll come back and do the final channel from Merlia. But thank you for that, Allison. May I also say that is a very magical dress you're wearing. I love it. I absolutely love it. Back to you. Okay, Meg, right here. Let's bow, everybody.
Hi, everybody. So nice to be here on the GlobalLight broadcast for October. Let's get into it. I've got a lot that I want to talk about today. So my segment today is going to be about sabotage, particularly self-sabotage. What is it? How does this happen? Why are so many of us looped in this self-sabotage pattern without even realizing it? It's unconscious versus success. Versus living that life that you want to be living. Are you making enough money? Are you happy in your relationship? Are things joyously coming into your experience? Do you wake up enthusiastic each day? Or are you waking up living the same mediocrity over and over and over again and justifying it by saying this is the way the world is now? Because here's the difference. You can thrive in these times, whether it's economic impairment, whether it's climate impairment, you can be, and you came to be, someone who would thrive through it and help others and show them the way and have those ideas flowing in, that deep connection with the universe, that divine problem-solving intelligence within you. That's what we call it in hypnotherapy. That divine problem-solving intelligence is always working, always flowing information to you. But whether or not you are able to receive it depends on the conditioning of your mind. So what is sabotage? How does it occur within us? Did you know that most of the beliefs that you carry unconsciously are not your own? Think about that. Did you know that when it came to learning, this was something I thought was fascinating when I learned it. We used to learn laterally in schools. So we would sit in a circle. The teacher would walk around the circle or be in the center of the circle, and it was based on the concept that you had something to teach me and I had something that I could teach you, and we all were valuable and we all learned together. This is how tests were. This is how we learned in school. And when that changed was when they realized that through military training, it was more likely that we would be obedient. We would not question if we learned in rows with an authority figure at the front of the room, teaching, dictating, telling us what we must learn. Now, keep in mind, those intentions were good. That was to keep people safe. You were going into military operations where everybody needed to work like one single-celled unit. So it was very important that there was a command and a response. But that shifted into the education system, which really sort of trained us away from our instincts, didn't it? It trained us into tell us what to do and we will behave. Now, think about nature. Nature lives on instinct, right? They don't analyze anything. They don't decide whether or not which path to the water is the right path and do they deserve the water or not. They don't analyze their environment. They live purely on instinct. And humans are designed to follow that guidance, right? That divine problem-solving intelligence, that higher part of ourselves that's connected to everything, that's constantly giving us solutions, constantly delivering us what we want, what we desire. This is supposed to be a really juicy experience being a human. We're supposed to be learning from our creation process and fine-tuning it and getting what we want, and then having another goal, and then helping others thrive too, right? Doesn't that resonate? Doesn't that feel right within you? But then why is it that you're not? Because it's been trained out of you, really, and that, no judgment there, just observation. And your beliefs really were modeled to you, is the point. They were modeled by teachers. Learn. Your authority figure tells you something, that becomes your truth. So growing up in my house, when it came to election time, there was a sign on our front lawn, and my dad told us how we were voting. that was just how it was. We didn't question that. It was just, well, okay, this is how we're voting. So well-meaning, wanting, his opinion to make sure that it was represented, because that's who he felt was the right party that was going to do right by us. But what did it teach us as children? What did it teach us as young adults? That someone else was going to make your decision and that you would follow through. So that became your belief. And then there would be questions, and you could share information, and then you were convinced that that was the right way to go. So think about how your parents or your guardians modeled to you. And if you really start to look at it, all the opinions you have about the world, about economy, about relationships, about right behavior, wrong behavior, are they your original thoughts? Are they yours? Because chances are, most of them, 90 to 95% of them, are not yours. They were modeled to you and became yours. And so if they are not modeled by those deeply connected to their higher selves, following that guidance, we are now taking on opinions and beliefs that are coming from a place of lack, a place of fear, a place of worry, a place of control, fill in the blank. Again, all with the best intentions, with love, with wanting to make the world a better place based on their beliefs. But have you discovered your own? Now, this can go back long before we're reasoning and having a rational mind. This can go all the way back to natal, to when you're in the womb. What do you know about the circumstances of your birth? So think about this, for example. Say mom and dad got pregnant and it was an oops baby. And it was a big surprise. And they were very excited and happy that you were conceived. But they were also very scared. How are we going to come up with the money? We are just managing right now. We do not have the money to move to a bigger place, and we need to have a bigger place if we're having a baby. Or we weren't planning. We've raised our children. We weren't going to have another child. We don't have the money for another child. You in the womb, in pure consciousness before physical form, are so empathic. You are hearing and feeling everything that mom is feeling. You are hearing and feeling everything that dad is expressing. And you are taking that all in. Think about that for a minute. Do you make decisions as a soul at that point? I'm going to help mom. I'm going to take care of mom. Mom's not doing well on her own. Is mom depressed? Are you going to be there to help mom so you become the mom figure and you take care of mom through your life and take on a lot of responsibility that doesn't feel right for you, but that's your job. That's what you do. You decided that in the womb. There's some unraveling there to be done. Imagine compounding throughout your life a subconscious belief that there's never enough money or that you really have to take care of other people. They need you. How does that play out through your manifestation process in your life? Think about your beliefs. Where did you pick them up? Are they your own? Because the subconscious mind, this is the piece I really want you to understand, that the difference between living a life of success versus sabotage, or sabotage coming from lack, comes down to the thoughts that you're thinking over time that you've created strong beliefs around that may not even be your own. Most likely they are not your own. And the more negative they are in nature, the less you're living what you want to be living. And you feel like you can't break it. And here's why. It's not your fault. One, you inherited it. 2, it's compounded over time. So it's just become a strong belief. It feels like you. It doesn't feel separate. It feels like truth. And the subconscious mind groups things together and it follows the dominant. The dominant belief becomes the manifestation. It goes out and orchestrates everything to validate that belief, that programming. Because we are projecting all day long from those beliefs and then attracting back people, places, and things that validate the programming, which is why we keep thinking we're right. See, that just happened. That's what I mean. That's what I'm talking about. This is what the world is like. But is that really what the world is like for everyone? Or is that what the world is like just for you? It's just for you. And it's changeable. It's absolutely 100% changeable. And it has nothing to do with your worth. We have to really get that ego out of the way because we tend to justify it in order to be right so we don't look like we failed or there's something intrinsically wrong with us. So then we are just constantly in this unconscious loop that we can't get out of. And here's the thing. You can't outwill your programming. You can try, but you can't. So I want you to start to think every conversation that you have with other people, everything you say, the thoughts and things that you say are instructions for your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind hears everything as you say as an instruction. Now let's expand on that a little bit for a minute. So if we are trying to help the world thrive, we have to start by thriving ourselves, don't we? And we can't do that if we keep listening to everything coming at us that's bad. Now, if we are connected to that divine problem-solving intelligence, we're going to have creativity flowing in. We're going to get ideas that are going to help the planet, help the economy. We're going to be on the specter of feeling inspired and feeling enthusiastic and manifesting the things that we need, the resources, while living a happy life. We're contributing and feeling good about it. But if we're just talking about what's coming and how bad it is, and thinking that we're going to be able to meditate our way through it, are we really contributing, or are we contributing to the lack? Because here's something I want you to consider. The universe expands when you expand. So if you thrive abundantly, the universe expands with that thriving, with that abundance. And then you have resources coming in. And then you have ideas and creativity coming in. And then you are consciously creating through a way of positive thriving. Does that make sense? But if we are just talking about what is all the time, then we are contributing to the contraction. We are actually contributing to more of what we do not want. So we really have to hone in our focus and decide how we are going to utilize our relationship with our subconscious mind. Because if you're not attracting into your life what it is that you want to be experiencing, you've got beliefs in the way. How do you change those beliefs? You have to work with your subconscious mind. You have to understand what your programming is, and it's different for everybody because your life experience is different than my life experience, is different from your friend's life experience. You have to understand what you picked up, where you picked it up, change it, and consciously work with the new changes, because our current present moment is just the past over and over and over again to justify those beliefs unless you're changing them. That's why I asked you last month, if you saw my segment last month, when I said, if you don't have what you want, your mind believes you don't want it, right? Your subconscious mind is never going to let you run crossways of your core values. It is always going to try to move you away from pain and towards pleasure. But if you've got thoughts that are dominant beliefs in your subconscious mind that says, people hurt me, relationships are not safe for me, I'm not going to get anywhere near opening up other people, Spiritual work doesn't really pay off. You can't thrive doing spiritual work. You can't make a lot of money doing that. You need to get a higher education for this or that. It is your beliefs that are in the way, and then you justify it, project it out, attract back that which validates it. You are your own beautiful ecosystem. You are your own creation machine. And if you're not living what you want to be living, then you've got to rework the instructions you are giving your subconscious mind. So let's talk about that for a minute. Out of the day, we are awake for 14 to 16 hours out of the day? How much time legitimately in those 16 hours are you spending focused on what you want? Are you working with your subconscious mind, giving it the instructions of what you want to happen next? Instead of just regurgitating the past out, because science has shown us, and I've said this many times, I'm going to keep saying it until it really sinks in. Science has shown us that most of our thoughts every day are the same thoughts we thought yesterday, and the day before that, and the day before that, and the day before that. It's an unconscious loop. And we think it's just a brand new day. But those thoughts are the same. And so what you are living right now is nothing more than the manifestations of the thoughts that you've already had that are now showing up in your experience. So if you want to be living a different experience, you must change your thoughts and beliefs around it in a way that consciously you think it, right? Because I want you to think of your conscious mind as the pen, right? It writes down what you want, conscious thoughts. The subconscious mind is like if you were to take a photograph, the subconscious mind is where the picture is imprinted, and then it's reflected out in your reality. So the conscious mind is the thinker, it's the pen, and the subconscious mind is the doer. It then takes the instruction and goes to work creating all of the circumstances to have the experience in your manifested form. So we have to consciously change what we believe. That's why I asked you if you had a goal statement. Did you come up with a goal statement since last month? Are you actively doing something about the segments that I bring? Are you working with them in a way that you decide what you want? And then you start to work with it every day in a positive, progressive way, knowing that it's coming to you. And do you stay focused on it, right? You have to be living in the future, expecting it, joyously, enjoying this ride to the creation process of it, feeling it. The subconscious mind is all about picture consciousness, and it's very literal. It thinks like a fifth grader. So you have to tell it what you want, and you have to imagine it happening because it does not know the difference. If I told you to close your eyes right now and imagine biting in to this half freshly cut, I cut a lemon in half, it's juicy, it's sour, and you took a big bite of that half a lemon and filled your mouth with all that sour lemon juice, your salivary glands just started to excrete liquid in your mouth, didn't they? Because your subconscious mind does not know that you didn't actually just bite into a lemon, and your body responds. So this is how healing takes place. This is how we attract people, places, and things to us that we want. How much time out of 16 hours, if we're honest, are you really focused on what you want and actively working with it? Or are you just sort of randomly talking about everything that is, and then spending a few minutes on what you wish you could have, and then moments later negating it? That's what I find most people do. We consciously say what we want, and within minutes, we negate it. Because of this, because of this, because of this. That's re-justifying over and over and over again your programming. Does that make sense? So, one of the biggest blocks to wealth is our constant attention and judgment towards those that have more. The focus is on lack, right? It's on lack versus prosperity. Now, I know there's an imbalance in the world, but if we can find a way to celebrate it, Celebrate the manifestations of the ideas and the creativity and the conveniences it has brought forward, even if you're not in a whole 100% agreement with all of the other pieces of it. If you want more in your life, you can't be crossways of the creation process. You have to look at the understanding that if you came up with all kinds of ideas for your business to expand, the universe would expand and support you. And what you do with that contributes to the whole. You have to be on the belief spectrum of prosperity. And we don't do that. The news certainly doesn't do that. Our conversations don't do that. We justify our lack by blaming and shaming. And you have to understand that the moment you're focusing negatively on anything else that's going on out there and not celebrating it, you are not adjusting or affecting them. You are absolutely self-sabotaging your own success. Does that make sense? So we have to find a way to consciously start really celebrating the abundance and the affluence and the ability and our connection and that divine problem-solving intelligence that knows everything that we want, and it's trying to deliver it to us, but we have to stay in resonance with it. We have to reprogram our subconscious beliefs to stay the course with what we want until it manifests. And we don't have to stay focused on the heavy-duty big bad stuff, but we do have to be working every day for more than just a few minutes. When you think 16 hours a day, how much of that is spent unconsciously in lack, complaining, or in fear, or justifying it by what you see in front of you? What you see in front of you is just a collective thoughts projected out into present moment. So you got to get out in front of that into your future. Decide what you want. Work with it consciously. Expect it and bring it right into your experience. And then the next one. And then the next one. This is all very possible. It's happening all the time. This is how we heal. This is how we make our relationships healthy. This is how we book in more clients. This is how we make more money. This is how our businesses expand into new things that we're joyous about and excited about. It's you. It has nothing to do with what the collective is saying is happening. You. Why are there people who thrive through times of the worst economic depression? Why and how? It's not because they're just the lucky few. It's not because they know something you don't know. Well, they do. They know one thing. They know that their expectations and their comfort around money and affluence, they're comfortable with it. They're in resonance with it. They expect it to come. It comes. How can you start to adjust yourself to be in alignment with what you want? Right? This is where in hypnotherapy, we have to get in and change the programming and the beliefs. We usually source them way back and they're not even your own. And we do some work and then we really get sharp on what you want and we deliver it, right? In the late 1930s, there was a doctor in France. His name was Dr. Emile Coué. He was a medical doctor. He started studying, back then it was called hypnosis, not hypnotherapy. Hypnosis back then, before Mesmer, was all about what was done to you. So it was someone else that had the special gift that did it to you. And one day in his office, he had a patient who was coming to see him for a very severe speech impediment. He stuttered. He put the gentleman into hypnosis, and then the nurse came in and told him there was an emergency in another room. He left to deal with the emergency. He had been working with this client before. The client was sophisticated enough in hypnosis that he knew that he could count himself out if something, if he got uncomfortable or the doctor wasn't back in time. So Dr. Coué forgot all about him. He was gone for 45 minutes. He dealt with the emergency, came back into the room fully expecting to see his patient sitting up to tell him about, what had happened while he was absent. But he wasn't. He was still lying down and he was still in hypnosis. So Dr. Coué brought him out of hypnosis, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, fully alert, counted him out and asked him, "Why didn't you bring yourself out when I was gone for so long?" And the man said to him without a single stutter, "I thought you wanted me to stay here until I healed myself." And at that moment, a big realization came into play that changed the trajectory of hypnosis into hypnotherapy. The realization of autosuggestion, what we call autosuggestion. It means it's not something I do to you. It's something you deliver. Your subconscious mind listens to everything you think and say as an instruction. It's there to keep you safe. It's there to create the reality out in front of you. Now, at that point, when he realized that, Dr. Coué then went on to specialize in stage 4 cancer patients. These are people that were basically told, we can keep you comfortable, we can manage your pain, you don't have long, get your affairs in order, you will not survive this. And back in the late 30s and early 40s, there was no chemotherapy, there was no alternative, there was no radiation, there was no treatment. And he had a 93% success rate, full remission, never returned. These people got their lives back. Why? Because they decided to focus on what they wanted, work with it consciously, knowing that the more they worked with the instruction of their subconscious mind, the subconscious mind governs the body, governs the autonomic nervous system. Your body knows how to heal itself. Infinite intelligence knows every cell that created you and how you were formed. It knows how to heal you. That your healing is not what's in the way. Your belief systems are what's in the way. Your dominant subconscious beliefs are what's running the show. You got to get in there and change that around. And there is nothing that you cannot have. There is nothing that you cannot achieve. Absolutely nothing. You can heal. Doctors told me I was not going to be able to heal my Hashimoto's because they say it's incurable. Well, when I get blood work done now, this was as of the last 2 years now, I have consistent blood work that shows I have antibodies for Hashimoto's, but nothing is active. Basically, it says, well, you've got a little mark in your blood that says you've had this, but there is no activity. Well, I call that healing, don't you? I call that curing, don't you? So to me, I healed my Hashimoto's. I no longer have symptoms of Hashimoto's when they said that wasn't possible. It would have to all be managed and for the rest of my life. Your body knows how to heal you. Your subconscious mind knows how to set up every scenario for your success, for your healing business, for your ability to connect and share your gifts with the world. This is how we collectively expand and move towards all the things that we want, people thriving. We've been trained to step away from our instincts and our ability to create our reality. We as humans are given the deepest gift, more than any other being on this planet. We have the ability to decipher and to discern and to connect with that divine problem-solving intelligence and follow our instincts and choose what we want next and be excited and happy until it shows up in our reality, and then it's the next thing. Money, car, relationship, health, well-being. So we have to begin to ask ourselves, what do we believe and why do we believe it? And is it still true for us? Is it really ours? Do we want to hold on to it any longer to justify how hurt we've become or how in pain we have been? Understandably, we've all been through a lot. Some have been through unimaginable circumstances, but you have the choice every single day of whether that is going to be what you project out and attract back into your experience or not. And you can break that loop by understanding what your subconscious mind is doing to protect you and changing that. That's the beauty of hypnotherapy. So we learn how to not focus on what is and focus on what we want. We learn how to be excited about it and anticipate it. We learn how to work with our subconscious and superconscious mind every day consciously so that things that are coming in, we start to understand, oh, I know why that showed up. That showed up because I was thinking this and I was thinking this and I was thinking this. And then more fills in that you weren't even thinking about because your subconscious mind knows everything you want. Everything that you want. And it starts to come in such beautiful and magical ways that the experiences are exhilarating. The experiences are positive and joyful, and you can thrive while the rest of the world around you looks like it isn't. So, I have a little story that I want to tell you because it was just such a sweet story, and it's a Barbara story, so it's a lovely story. We were out driving the other day. We decided we were going to go for a walk, and our home is up for sale. And we were driving to go to a bike path that we like to walk on, and on the drive, our Jeep started rattling and making all this really bad noise. And I said to Greg, let's turn around, let's go home. Something's off with the Jeep and I don't want to be stranded somewhere. So let's just turn around and go home. The moment we turned around to go home, the noise stopped. And this was like rattly drive shaft, something's going to fall off the Jeep kind of noise. So we drove home and it stopped completely. We got in the house. And about 20 minutes later, a realtor with a couple to see our house showed up on the wrong night. They were supposed to come the next night. Now, had we gone to the bike path, they would have showed up at our house and gone in. And it was not, we had stuff on the kitchen counter. I had things in the bathroom. We had towels hanging up. It wasn't show ready. And I knew immediately that happened as assistance because I work with a goal every day about our house, and there's so much happening there, but I'm going to save that because it's sweet and it's magical, and I'll tell it later when all the other pieces are in. Right now, half the pieces are in, so I'm not going to talk about it. But this story, the moment that I clicked in, wait a minute, that was structured so that we would turn around and go back home, I saw Barbara's face. And I saw her face light up, and I heard that little giggle, that giggle I miss every day. And I thought, Barbara, that was you. Thank you. She's always helping us. She's always there. And I always know when it's her because I hear that giggle. I just see her face in my mind's eye. Isn't it amazing to know that when you are not in a negative belief loop, in a negative pattern, that you have help? And it's fun and it's sweet. And as much as it makes my heart hurt just a little bit, I'm on the other side of that now where I can play with that and I can appreciate that and I can love that. And that was the sweetest moment. So we were able to say to them, sorry, but we're not show ready. They could go see another property and then they could circle back, which gave us enough time to clean up, and they could come back in a half an hour and it all worked out fine. But this is what I mean about being in cooperation. Your subconscious mind, your superconscious mind, when you are open, when you are connected, when you're living in the positive, creating what you want, things flow. Things flow to you and through you. You are a conduit, right? You are a focal point of divine problem-solving intelligence. It's flowing to you all the time. But are you letting it in? Do you believe you deserve it? Are you excited about what comes next? Are you consciously working on what you want next? Because if you just think it's all random and you have sort of an idea and then whatever shows up, you justify it by saying it's because of this or because of that, you're not using everything that you were born into this experience to utilize. And that's what I want you to think about. That is the intrinsic difference between self-sabotage and success. It starts with your belief systems and where they come from, and actively changing them and believing in yourself and your own worth and deservability to be living everything that you want to be living. And if you are not, why not? Is your life really so busy and important that out of 16 hours a day, you can't dedicate more time and focus to what you really want and step away from what you don't want? It's up to you. You have more power in you than you will ever acquire listening to the news, talking to colleagues, grouping together. Now, I'm not saying don't get out there and be an activist, but be an activist for the positive and be focused on what you want to bring in and draw those resources to you. Have those $1 million ideas. Get out there and build those companies. Do the things that you love to do and bring that contribution to the world, because you did not come here just to suffer. You did not come here to try and say that, you're a sacrifice for everyone else in order to make things better. I do not agree with that. And that may offend some empaths in the room, and I mean it with the utmost respect, but you have a sensitivity, but you can use it for what you want, to create what you want. And every time something drops in, you'll say, I did that. I know where that came from. I know what I was thinking about that. And you can give it a timeline. Your subconscious mind is your most powerful ally. I will never stop saying that. And it's all up to you how you want to use it. Do you want to continue to live sabotage, or do you want to live success? And what does success mean for you? Isn't it fun to know that it's all within reach? It has nothing to do with anybody else, and it's all about you. So if I can help you work with that, with your health, with your relationships, with your self-beliefs, with your ability to thrive, I am here for you, and I would love to have a chat with you. I offer free 30-minute consults on my website, megadamsonhypnotherapy.com. I want to wish you a wonderful rest of your show. Thank you again for having me, for opening up your hearts, your living rooms, and being here for this incredible show that does all of this work around the planet and offers so much content completely free of charge. It is an honor to be here and to be a part of this. Thank you, and I'll see you next month. Back to you in the studio.
Meg, I am so proud of you. I really am. These segments that you are putting together are incredible. Thank you. Thank you for letting us see ourselves from a totally different perspective and be able to work with that. It's very magical. Okay. Also, in the Barbara story, there have been so many Barbara stories this last week. I will tell you that. We've heard them from her. And my own experiences of her. I did an interview yesterday or day before. And somebody was asking me, they said, do you channel your wife now that she's passed over? Do you channel? No, I don't. She doesn't, but I do. She's around me all the time. I hear her laughing. These crazy things happen. Really crazy things happen that maybe someday I'll share with everybody. But we have all kinds of crazy things take place that I absolutely know she was behind it. I absolutely know it. It's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. I'll be back in just a moment to do the final channel. I do believe Merlia is coming in today. But in the meantime, I want to tell you about the event that's coming up. The next one is called the Great Reset. And it is all about what we're all experiencing right now. Greetings, dear ones. I am Merlia. I join you this day with great pride, for you have moved mountains very quickly on your planet. It's amazing to see what you're doing in such a short period of time. But let us speak specifically about the challenges that are going on right now. There are many, obviously, and some are elucidatory and some are only temporary things that go through to change. But overall, you're resetting into a higher vibrational state. And that's the reason for the Great Reset. You have created this yourselves. In truth, this was a collective contract that kept going throughout all of history, time and time again, to where you could actually reach this level and your voices could be heard. Let us speak to the feminine for just a moment, not to exclude the masculine, but to simply include everything. Let us speak and say that now's the time to make your voice heard. One way or the other, whether you speak loudly, or it's not always the loudest voice in the room that is heard, is it? But find your intent. Find your focus of who you are. Connect with your spirit and let it be seen. There's so many ways to do that now going forward. These are specific times that we're here for you to be able to ground in different ways and to bring the feminine energy forward. You may think yourself, well, I'm not good enough to be able to do that. I'm alone. But it's not you alone. Keep in mind, everything on planet Earth is imperfect, or it would not be here. So your perfection comes from gathering and gaining and combining with other beings. That's the contract that you made around the big table before you came in. To be able to carry part of that energy. But we tell you now in this stage, where humanity is right at this moment, we tell you it's difficult without the voices of the feminine. Because so much of the masculine energy is showing up every place. Most of your systems that you built, whether they are in politics, whether they are in governments, whether they are simply the systems that you use, most of them have been created with the masculine energy in mind. It wasn't wrong, dear ones. It's simply where you were at that stage of your evolution. But now you're way beyond that. The time is right for all humans to come together in one thing and to start speaking aloud. Not for fear that you're going to anger people or that you're going to have an opinion different than everyone else. That is part of what you gain. That is part of the gift that you can give. And as far as controlling yourself and knowing who you truly are, you have more keys to that than you could possibly imagine. The main focus is to set your intent to move forward, to place yourself where you're going to create ahead of time. And let your subconscious and your superconscious start building all that energy around you before you even get there. It's happening. Yes, the Great Reset is difficult for many. It has pushed them into making changes they may not have been quite ready to make. But the timing in the collective is perfect. Now, we tell you there are systems that were built on masculine energy which will not survive the Great Reset. You've known about many of these for some time. Right now, one of the systems that is under attack is your banking systems, especially in the United States. They're under major strain from different hackers doing different things in different ways. But you'll find if they make it through, that they will be much stronger. And if they don't, you'll build something much stronger than what you had in the beginning. But these types of changes are directly ahead for everyone on planet Earth. And we're not telling you this to be in fear, dear ones, because we are excited about the changes. For the very simple reason that most of these systems were built, as we mentioned, with the masculine energy to serve the masculine energy. And you're not there anymore. Humanity now carries a balance, a blend, a connection. And we find it fascinating that the one who has just recently left, who called her Queen Elizabeth, is now on the other side actively working in ways that you can only imagine. She's not limited by the physical body. She's not limited by all the rules that she had to abide by. She can go to work. And she's a powerful lady, as you all are. But these are the pieces that you can work with together to bring them into a space where you can speak. Your voice needs to be heard. Does it mean you'll always see the results? Will everyone cheer you on and applaud you after you speak? Probably not. Because you're carrying an energy that goes way back. And some won't understand it at first, but that's not the important thing. You're not on this planet to convince people of anything. But if you can plant seeds, that is powerful. Breathe, dear ones. Take that light deep into your heart. Know that when you connect up, especially when you hold hands in this energy, how that opens up everybody's heart. You are magical beings that have spent a long time preparing this. It has happened. You've moved forward into the new energy. Yes, it's all directly ahead of you. And we see it with the greatest excitement. Yet it is change. And humans don't necessarily do change well. But you see, we're not at all worried because the greatest angels are in place. The greatest angels that have taken off their wings to make a difference, to be here at exactly these moments in time, space, to be there, to make their voice heard as well, to plant the seeds of hope, to plant the seeds of your dreams. Welcome home, everyone. It is time. We tell you much about this, but join in all of it because it is an energy, not a sexuality. And we tell you everyone carries feminine energy. The idea is to start learning about it, to wonder, to work with it, to consciously use it, and to make your voice heard, whether you're a male or a female. To bring it through in that way is very powerful, and you are coming to a time where everyone can hear it. The seeds of light are great indeed. You plant them along the path that you have walked. Some of it's from your own experience. But the beautiful part about all of it is that you have earned this right. You've earned those seeds that you have worked so hard with. Now we ask you, it is time to share them. Please make your voice heard. And with that, it is with the greatest of honor that we ask you all to treat each other with respect in the most beautiful way, to nurture one another and open those doors for each other whenever possible. Know that you are light beings of great magnitude playing a game on planet Earth. Play well together. I am Merlia. I love you dearly. Come up and see me sometime. Aspavo, dear ones. Oh, give me just a second because I have a couple things I need to say. We are in the process of bringing the family back together in different ways. And I'm very pleased to tell you also that next month we're going to be hearing from some other members of the family. We're going to be doing some things with Sandy Sedgebeer. We're going to be doing some things with Jim Self. We're going to be opening up some new opportunities to spread the light and to plant our seeds in unusual different places. We're thrilled to be here working with all of you. I can best tell you that my opportunity to channel the group and to be in front of you, I thank you all for that. It has obviously changed my life in ways that I could never completely describe. Thank you for letting me play this role. Now, we'll thank the rest of the people that were important to do. Special thanks to the light workers that help in putting this on every month. And of course, that's Meg Adamson. Meg Adamson does incredible sessions. If you like what you said there, follow along. In fact, I forgot to show you something. I will show it to you right now. Meg finally has a page. If you simply go up here to Start Now and you drop down here, you will find Meg's page where she'll tell you all about herself, give you some ideas of who she is, and the links to her website where you can book a session for yourself. All right? Thank you, Meg. Incredible work. Awesome. And then, of course, we have Allison Chester Lambert. Allison, I'm so sorry. Your name escaped my brain for a short time when we started here today, but I'd never forget you. She is a psychological astrologer who does absolutely incredible work and wears beautiful dresses too. But anyway, she's very, very unusual. She does a lot of work with BBC and she does private sessions as well. So feel free to use Allison whenever possible. Elena Era, she does so many of the graphics that we have done here on that. A lot of what you see that is the special magic touch of Espavo comes from Elena Era, from Elena. Thank you, Elena. And then Nick Pneumatikos is our webmaster in Greece. He does an absolutely incredible job running down all the challenges and things that we have pretty much on a regular basis. Excellent job, Nick. Thank you so much. And of course, Kathy's the one who answers all the help desk tickets. Kathy is the one who has learned how to help people in so many different ways. Absolutely beautiful soul. Thank you, Kathy, for your work as well. And that's it. Gail Harris does production for us. She checks pretty much everything, makes sure we have dotted our I's and crossed our T's, and just does a marvelous job of making us look good. Thank you, Gail. We appreciate it. That is Espavo TV for now. We'll return next month. But furthermore, we're going to use this system here, the GlobalLight system. Every time something important comes up that we can work on as a large group of people, we're going to send you an email. And we're going to tell you the next day that we're going to come together. Most of the time, that's going to go out only 24 hours beforehand. We're changing a few things here, so it'll be last minute. But I will tell you that if you want to work on it, even if you miss the live process, take a look at it whenever you can, because the illusion of time is an illusion. And if we focus our energy together, you can create that and actually join in with the whole process that we're working with. Thank you all for being with us here today. Espavo, everyone. Know that you are loved by me. Espavo.